The Theology of the Hidden Life, Building a Strong Foundation for Sustainable Leadership. Introduction, The Crisis of the Unseen Structure. One of the greatest threats to sustainable leadership is not a lack of gifting, talent, or opportunity. It is a weak foundation. We live in a culture driven by visibility, performance, and constant exposure. Yet in God's kingdom, public effectiveness is determined by private formation. The TTEAR model, teach, train, equip, activate, and release, cannot function properly if the leader's character lacks depth. When public influence exceeds private devotion, a structural imbalance is created. Eventually, that imbalance leads to failure. This session explores the life of Jesus to establish a theology of the hidden life and demonstrates why the most important battles of leadership are won long before anyone is watching. 1. The blueprint of Christ. Throughout his ministry, Jesus maintained a rhythm between public ministry and private communion with the Father. A. Hidden preparation before major decisions. Luke 6:12-13 records that before choosing the 12 apostles, Jesus spent an entire night in prayer. This was one of the most significant decisions of his earthly ministry. Rather than relying on public opinion or human wisdom, he withdrew to seek the Father's direction. Principle: major assignments require major alignment. Clarity for long-term leadership is cultivated in private prayer, not public noise. B. Withdrawal after public success. Mark 1:35 tells us that after a powerful season of ministry, when crowds gathered and many were healed, Jesus rose early and went to a solitary place to pray. Humanly speaking, this was the moment to capitalize on momentum. Instead, Jesus stepped away from the crowd. His pattern was clear: public demand to intentional withdrawal to private recalibration. Jesus understood that public ministry consumes spiritual energy, while private intimacy restores it. He refused to let applause define his identity or dictate his direction. 2. Why the greatest battles are fought in isolation. A. The dismantling of the self-life public ministry can sometimes conceal pride, ambition, or insecurity behind spiritual activity. It is possible to appear successful while remaining internally unhealthy. Isolation removes the audience. There are no metrics, no recognition, and no image to maintain. In that environment, God reveals motives, exposes hidden dependencies, and refines character. The hidden life becomes the furnace where self-promotion is replaced with kingdom purpose. Before leaders are released into greater responsibility, they must first be shaped in secret. B. The battle of identity. In Matthew 4, Jesus was led into the wilderness to face temptation. The enemy's challenge was centered on identity. If you are the Son of God. Notice that this confrontation occurred before Jesus performed miracles or gained public acclaim. Principle: identity must be settled in private before ministry is expressed in public. If leaders seek validation from platforms, positions, or achievements, they will continually use public success to prove their worth. But when identity is rooted in the Father's approval, leadership flows from security rather than insecurity. 3. Practical applications for today's leaders. 1. Establish your solitary place. Create a dedicated time and location for prayer, reflection, and communion with God. Protect it from interruptions, notifications, and distractions. Every leader needs a personal altar where God has their full attention. 2. Practice intentional disconnection. Regularly step away from digital noise and social media. A scheduled digital fast helps prevent external validation from shaping your identity and allows your heart to remain aligned with God's voice. 3. Submit to honest accountability. Invite trusted people to evaluate your hidden life, not just your public achievements. Ask questions such as, am I consistent in prayer? Am I growing in purity and integrity? Do I have genuine peace and spiritual health? Healthy leadership begins with honest self-examination. Conclusion. The height of a building is limited by the strength of its foundation. A skyscraper with a shallow base becomes a danger to everyone around it. The same is true of leadership. A large platform without a deep hidden life creates vulnerability. Lasting influence is built on proven character, cultivated in private before it is displayed in public. Protect your hidden life. Invest in the place where no one is watching. When character is established in secret, God can safely entrust greater influence in public. The strength of your public ministry will never exceed the depth of your private life.